Welcome to the Graveyard Shift Halloween special episode. We love Halloween and we want to do something a little different for the show to celebrate. So we're going to be talking about our favorite Halloween movies, TV specials, TV show Halloween episodes, and all kinds of things that we love about the big day. Plus, we have some things that you guys send us about what you like to do that we want to talk about. And if all that wasn't enough, we have a couple of friends joining us that love this time of year as much as we do. So with all that ahead, why wait any longer? It's the Graveyard Shift Halloween special, and it's going to be spooktacular. I need some water. Happy Halloween, horror heads, and thank you for joining us for our very first Halloween special. We are very excited about it because if you're a horror fan, then there is no other day like this. It's a day when all of us seem actually pretty normal, and a lot of people that are not huge horror fans the rest of the year tend to get in on it as well. I am your host, Sheldon, and joining me as always is the other half of our gruesome twosome, my co-host, Mike.
Boo, everybody.
Mike, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, Halloween is right around the corner. I'm so happy. Just can't wait to play. I can't wait till I watch a scary movie, hand out candy to the trick-or-treaters, keep the best for myself, and then I play chicken with my pancreas.
Awesome. So you're all prepared then? Everything is all good to go for Halloween?
Oh, getting the candy, like deciding which movie I want to watch that's not going to be too interesting because I'm going to be interrupted, but will definitely keep me going while I'm waiting between doorbell rings.
Okay, good stuff. And of course, when it comes to Halloween, the more the merrier. So please welcome our guests. Returning to the show after helping us with a very popular Bubba Hotep, according to you guys anyway, our good buddy Robin Party is back.
Hello.
Party over here.
How are you doing, buddy?
Good.
Well,
Glad to be back.
That is good, man. This is a great episode to have you back. And joining us for the first time is one of my closest and oldest friends, and someone that had a huge influence on my horror education, and also my former bandmate. Please say hello to Mr. Rick Massey. Welcome to the Graveyard Shift.
Hey, thanks. And for the record, I'm not that old, but yeah, very excited to be here from Whitehorse, Yukon.
Wow, yeah. So, guys, so how about you? Are you all ready for Halloween this year?
Yeah. In terms of being excited, totally. Don't have any decorations up yet, which is odd, but that'll be coming soon for sure. Definitely have the music playlists ready and been listening to all the good Halloween music, so that's all good to go.
Are you going to be introducing yourself as Black Massey?
Black Massey from the Black Metal Band. Yep, like back in the day.
So, and Robin, how about you? You all ready for Halloween this year?
Oh yes, I'm always ready.
You are always... Robin, you usually have some great Halloween costumes. Do you have one planned for this year so far?
There's one I tried, but I couldn't find what I needed, so I might have to throw something together at last minute this year.
Okay. Well, let us know when you do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yours never disappoint.
Sheldon knows that there's a character we created on the Playing with Power podcast, RoboNoof. So maybe you can go as that. Just for like RoboCop with a Newfie accent.
Yeah.
Article 1: Eyes the buys that builds the boats.
Okay, stop that.
Yes, not a Newfie here, so.
Yes, don't offend Robin. He's from Labrador.
Oh, there's a difference. I'm sorry.
Now you can offend me if you want, though.
Rick's good to go. You can offend him all you want. Yeah. So, now Rick, going back to you, besides being a horror movie connoisseur, you have actually got a little piece of pretty impressive horror cred because for those of you that don't know, Rick is actually a very talented musician and of the metal genre. That's your genre of choice. But a little while ago, you were asked to actually play guitar with the band for Evil Dead, the musical.
Actually, I was, which is kind of funny because I hadn't been playing guitar for quite some time, and then this opportunity came out of the blue, and didn't have time to do it, unfortunately. But I did go watch the show, and it was amazing. And then I felt kind of bad that I didn't get to do it because that would have been really cool. Holy cow! But yeah, yeah, it would have been super fun to do something like that.
That certainly would have been a notch in your belt. I'm not sure what makes you more of a badass, though, being offered to part or the fact that you declined it. Like, that's impressive in itself.
Let's go with the declining. That'll make me feel better about it.
There you go. So you actually did get to see Evil Dead the musical, and Robin, I know you did as well, right?
No, I never.
You didn't get to see it? When you were here in Toronto, didn't you see it?
No, I'd always just miss it.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, we're gonna have to fix that. And Mike,
Okay,
you
fine.
too, right? You didn't get to see it yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty much stuck in the city that never wakes up, Ottawa.
Oh, that's a tragedy right there. We're gonna have to fix that. We're gonna have a Evil Dead musical party sometime.
If you want to hear us review the Evil Dead musical, donate to patreon.com/graveyard for travel expenses and accommodations.
Oh, yes.
There you go. New Patreon goal. Okay, guys, so this really is going to be totally unstructured compared to our regular episodes. We're just having a good chat, just four friends having a chat about Halloween. We're going to talk about some of our favorite Halloween things, whether it's movies, TV shows, blah, 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 whatever. If it's Halloween, we're going to talk about it. And also, for you listeners, I've got a list of some love letters that you sent to us when I asked. Quite a few of you wrote to us and talked about what you like to do on Halloween, or you had a cool Halloween story. One of them is freaking hilarious. I was just cracking up while I was reading it, so I can't wait to get to that one. But let's start off with the easy one. Since we are, primarily a horror movie podcast, let's start with our favorite Halloween movies. I'm going to start off with Mike. Because you almost always start with Mike. So, Mike, tell me a movie that you have to see on Halloween, something that is a must-watch for you.
Last couple of years, I've been really enjoying Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh,
I
nice.
just felt that it's a good movie. It's got great songs in it, and it's just it's my movie of choice because I can watch it in chunks. And because I'm usually the one that gives out the candy,
Right.
so that's my thing.
Cool. Funny you should mention that too, because I was going to save some of these, like spread them throughout this episode, but since you brought this up, Andy S on Facebook says the last movie I watch in October is always The Nightmare Before Christmas. The movie is a perfect transition from Halloween to the start of the Christmas season. Which
Man of my own heart.
kind of makes sense. So, all right. So you're not the only one for sure. So, Robin, I'm going to go to you. And when I say what is one of yours, and I know, like, we're doing the 31 Days of Horror for the Graveyard Shift, where each day we post a horror movie, a suggestion of our own for people to watch, give a little blurb about it. And Robin, you're doing pretty much the same thing on your own personal Facebook page, right? Like every day you're posting a new horror movie?
Yeah, it's something I always enjoy doing every year, so...
You've done that pretty much since, like, the first day I've known you, I think, when Halloween comes by.
There's a couple years I would get sidetracked and fall out in the middle, but a couple times I made it right to the end.
Yeah. So this shouldn't be very hard for you then, or actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it might be difficult, but tell me, we'll start off with one anyway. Tell me a movie that is a must-see for you for Halloween.
Well, every time on the 30th, it's always The Crow.
Okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
Because it actually takes place on Halloween, right?
On the 30th, on Devil's Night.
It's nice. Okay.
That's why I save it for the 30th.
Wow, okay. Good
So it's
one.
a Hallows Eve
Yeah.
movie.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. And not a lot of people suggest that one, because I don't think a lot of people associate that one with a horror movie.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, it's an undead guy coming back from the dead, so...
And he
If it-
really dies in the movie, so
Yeah.
yeah,
It
so,
certainly
yeah,
has-
that's Halloween as fuck.
Yeah, it's got that morbidity.
It has horror elements, and I mean, if it's not a true horror movie per se, I don't know what we would define as a true horror movie, but I'm just using it for lack of a better phrase. It's definitely a Halloween movie at the very least.
Yeah. I mean, it takes
So-
place over a Halloween, too, so...
Yeah. So no, that's a good one. I like that. Okay, Rick.
Well, lately, the past, let's say, 7 years, the one movie that I've been watching a lot around Halloween is I think it's the Disney version of the Headless Horseman. It's a cartoon because I've got my daughter, so I always want to watch kind of scary-ish stuff with her, but it's a little more easy going. But it's actually, once you watch it, it's kind of quite creepy, like surprisingly so. I'm pretty sure it's a Disney movie, and yeah. But anyway, she's good with that one, and so we've been watching that over the years, and that's nice because it's something we can both watch. And for myself, it always goes back to my favorite Halloween movie. If it's just me, I'll watch Spookies, which is just pretty much the ultimate kind of like, it's got the creepy house, it's got the crazy creepy atmosphere, and pretty much every monster under the sun, which is what I like about Halloween, the monster costumes, the cool creatures that people dress up as. So yeah, that movie fits the bill perfect.
You and
was this in the same vein as Munchies?
No, not at all. You and our friend Aiden actually introduced me to this one because, me and Rick, even though we're close friends, we've been close friends forever since like elementary school, but we didn't actually live in the same town. I had relatives that I used to stay with in Rick's hometown, so I used to spend all my summers there, Christmas holidays, spring break, everything like that was always spent there. And one of the first things when I used to arrive was that Rick and our friend Aiden always had like a bunch of video games or a bunch of movies that we had to take a look at that they discovered during my absence. And one of them was Spookies. And Rick, I'm trying to think back now, this was quite some time ago, but you described Spookies to me as, you've got to see this movie. It has zombies and an evil wizard, a haunted house, an exploding Grim Reaper. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. You got to see it.
Yeah, and farting mud monsters.
Farting mud monsters that dissolve when they touch wine.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good one.
Wow.
And a cast of characters that half of them never ever interact with each other.
Actually,
So Sheldon, why haven't we been watching this?
Oh, it's coming. Don't you worry. There's a lot to talk about because this movie was, when you watch it, you get a feeling that you're watching two different movies. And when we first saw this, it was on VHS. You don't have access to the internet, so you're not finding out all these like little tidbits and everything. But in recent years, I found out that there is a reason it feels like you're seeing two different movies when you're watching it, because you actually are. It is two unfinished movies that were made by a company that went bankrupt, and another production studio got the rights to all their stuff and actually spliced these two movies together to make one complete movie.
Complete being a loose term.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it is fantastic. Oh my God! It's like, I don't want to. If we're going to cover it on the show, I don't want to go into too much detail. But it starts off with a kid on his birthday getting killed, getting chased first with getting surprised by a decapitated head in a gift box, and then being attacked by some kind of cat creature, and then buried alive. And it just doesn't slow down from there. So,
And these all sound like scenes from good movies that I've already seen, like Cat's Eye with the cat attacking the guy, and a kid someone being attacked in the graveyard that was from Creepshow.
And okay, so for my pick, what I'm going to say for my first one at least is one that we just covered on the show, and that is Trick or Treat. From 2007. The thing just turned 10 years old. And I saw it for the first time about 7 years ago, and it is the movie that puts me, since that time, is the movie that puts me in the Halloween mood the most. We get a lot of movies, we watch a lot of movies that take place during Halloween, and that's really the only connection to Halloween they have. This movie involves Halloween closely. It's an anthology, contains 5 separate stories, and they all intertwine with each other. And even has like this little it even has a little mascot called Sam, which is basically the spirit of Halloween, running through the whole thing, like tying all the stories together. So that's my number one. I always save that for actually Halloween night from now on.
Oh, yeah,
I
Sam's
haven't
great.
seen that one.
What's
I have
that?
to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, Robin, did you say something?
No, I just said Sam is great. He's such a cool mascot.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've been trying to hunt down a Funko Pop of Sam for like a long time, but I can only find them for like expensive online prices. So if anybody wants to send you one, send it my way
I'll see what I can find.
for sure.
Okay, so Mike, do you have another one for your Halloween must watch?
Nothing in particular comes to mind at the moment. There's like a lot of scary movies. Like some. I remember before. I also used to watch Dracula, 1958. That
Oh,
was one of my big movies. It wasn't Halloween themed, but it was. You wanted something chilling with atmosphere and class. It was pretty hard to beat that.
For sure. That, and you're talking about Dracula with Christopher Lee, right?
His first appearance as the Dark Prince himself.
Yeah. Known in a lot of places, especially in North America, I think it was called The Horror of Dracula.
Yep.
They just did that, tacked that on just to be able to differentiate it from the other Draculas.
Yeah, just in case, American audiences would confuse it with a 30-year-old black and white movie that's suddenly been re-released with a different cast.
And that was
So they had to avoid any confusion.
that was Hammer Studios' first film, I believe, too, right?
They had done a lot of stuff in the past, like the Quatermass Experiment, and
But was that before Dracula?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Quatermass was Black and White Hammer Studios. I think was founded in the 30s.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm dumb. So we had a lot of people sent us a message saying what their favorite Halloween movie was, and I'm not going to, one in particular, I'm not going to read out the names of the people who sent it, because apparently about 3 million people watched the original Halloween on Halloween. That is by far the most common one we have. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Oh, it makes logical sense.
Absolutely. And my recommendation, if you're going to watch the original Halloween, watch part 1 and part 2, because they are the same story. Like, they take place back to back. Part 2 picks up literally the second that part 1 ends. And so it's one complete story. It was supposed to be wrap up the Michael Myers story. The Michael Myers story was not supposed to carry on beyond that point. That was the original plan. We could get into a whole thing. That's the whole reason why Halloween 3 does not include Michael Myers. It's a completely different story and set in a completely different universe, because in that universe, Halloween, the original, is actually a movie because you see it on a TV screen at one point. So, but there's a big story behind that, and we'll save that for the show because we are definitely going to cover it sometime. So, Robin, do you have another one, a must-watch Halloween movie?
Sure. Before I do, you got to mention Halloween 4 and 5 to show some love for Danielle Harris, though, because she's great.
Oh, she is.
Yeah. But here's an obscure one that I've only actually tracked down recently. It's called Jacko. It's this really crappy, not even B-level Halloween movie, but this guy with a pumpkin head scarecrow that comes back from the dead and hunts people.
I'm gonna flex. You said it was really obscure that not many people have heard, so I'm gonna show some of my horror cred right now, because I am very familiar with Jacko. Starred Leanna Quigley from the Return of the Living Dead.
There we go.
I can't say starred, but she is in it. She's plays
in
like
it,
a big part of the cast.
Years ago, my old friends had this on a VHS, and we would watch this on Halloween. And I managed to track down a DVD copy recently, and I'm going to watch it again soon.
Nice. Basically, it's one of those movies that basically, if you had, you have like you had a farm, someone's farm that you could use, a camcorder and a scarecrow mask and a pumpkin, you can make this movie over the course of a weekend.
Okay. I just remember the kid actor in this. He's so bad.
He is. Yeah. This is definitely like the highlight of his career, for sure.
Yeah, I look forward to reintroducing myself to it. I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah. Okay, Rick, lay one on
Sheldon?
us, man.
Sheldon,
Alright.
just one thing. I just did a quick bit of research, and Dracula was the second Hammer film. The first one was Curse of Frankenstein.
Oh, that came,
Which had
I
Christopher
thought
Lee as the
Dracula
mummy.
came first. Okay.
No, Curse of Frankenstein, 1957, was the first color Hammer horror.
Nice. Okay.
I know we got some cinephiles listening to the show, so they've just been chomping at the bit going, come on, they can't leave me hanging.
Well,
Yeah,
where
you
does
better get those.
satanic rites fit in?
Oh, there is a lot, man. Holy crap.
Yeah.
He went on to play Dracula so many times. Okay, Rick, what have you got for us, man?
Well, it's not a super scary movie by any means, but I really like watching Edward Scissorhands for some odd reason. It's got the weird, creepy vibe, just a weird kind of freaky story, kind of a Frankenstein type feel to it. And yeah, I don't know, I just love that movie. It's awesome. And
it
Vincent
is.
Price, right?
Exactly. There
Right,
you
how can
go.
you go
That's all the
wrong?
horror. That's all the horror connection you need right there is have Vincent Price in your movie.
Yeah, I remember a few years back, my daughter, she was probably 4 or 5 at the time. She was asking about elections because I can't remember if it was our election or an American election, whatever. She was asking about elections. So I explained to her what it was and how it worked. And you vote for someone, the person you think's best. She said, "I hope Vincent Price wins the election." Like, yeah, I've been raising you pretty good here. Hey.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Lord.
I just wanted to go back with your first suggestion too, because I just went off on a tangent after that. But you mentioned the old Disney animated Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
That thing, man, when I was a kid, that thing used to scare the crap out of me.
Oh,
It's
same
super
here.
scary.
I mean, when Ichabod looks like he's just about gotten away, he crosses the bridge, and we're just like, yeah, he's safe. And then the pumpkin's just like, yeah, I can't cross it on my foot, but I can throw my head at you, you little bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my wife actually still look for that one now every Halloween because she said the same thing. We were got on a discussion one day, and we just brought that up. And she was like, "Oh my God, that used to scare me so much when I was a kid. I used to watch it. I watched it. She said, as a kid, I used to watch that cartoon the same way I watch horror movies now, with like most of my face covered in my hands, or like a pillow or a blanket pulled over my face."
Yeah, as far as cartoons go, it's probably the most terrifying one, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what I'm trying to think of one that's a little more obscure because now Trick or Treat is pretty mainstream right now. While I do
Yeah.
love it, everybody knows about it. It certainly developed like a nice following. So I'm trying to think of one that's much more obscure. One of the things I do love, and this is since me and my wife bought this house, every Halloween, well, it's only been 2 so far, but we threw a Halloween party, and so I'm like, we have music and people are talking, so we wanted something that's not going to take away from this, but yet, since we had the big screen TV in the living room, I want to be playing something on there that is going to be Halloween themed, but something that you can get without actually having to hear it. So, of course, the silent movies were going to be the number one choice, and I'm going to say it's a tie between Nosferatu or The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And they're perfect because I could watch those movies at any time anyway. I love both of them, and you put them on a Halloween party, like you don't have to hear anything because they're silent movies anyway. All you're going to get is like some music when you're watching it anyway.
Typo negative, perhaps.
Yeah, isn't there a version that exists out there with Typo Negative did the soundtrack?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
That sounds kind of cool.
Have you seen the colored remaster of Nosferatu called The Symphony of Horror?
I saw it because you sent it to me once.
Yes, so you did see it. What'd you think of it?
It was fantastic.
Yeah. Are you two guys familiar with it?
No, not at all.
Okay, so there are cuts of Nosferatu we've all seen, but they were, I'll be brief, they were sloppy cuts. Like, pieces were missing, and other countries got, like, extended cuts. So what these people did in the early 2000s was they found clips, like, that were left in, like, some Japanese guy's attic. And, like, it was a limited Asian release with an extended scene. And so they took these scenes, they remastered them, gave them new interstitials, which are like the English translations in between. And they've also cel-shaded certain themes for atmosphere. So it's not like they've colorized individual parts. It's just like some scenes have a red glow, some have like a blue tint to them. And just with these subtle color shades, they project atmosphere, and they have a phenomenally done music track. It is Nosferatu in a completely new way, and with stuff you've never seen before. It is highly recommended. Called Nosferatu: A Symphony in Horror or a Symphony of Horror. So if you can find it any way you can, because I don't think Bram Stoker's going to be missing any royalties on that one, get it and enjoy it. It is definitely worth it.
Yeah, it really is worthwhile checking out. Yeah, and of course, if I recommend too, if you're a fan of Nosferatu, check out Shadow of the Vampire.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's just a movie. It's a fictional movie about a fictional telling of the making of Nosferatu, where the director actually hired a real vampire to play the part of Nosferatu in the movie.
Perfectly played by Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Well, I mean, come on, Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich. Like,
It was sublime.
yeah.
Especially when he's got his moments of melancholy, where you actually feel a little sympathetic for him, because he talks about how he's forgotten what the sunlight feels like, and
Yeah,
like he looks outside with a melancholy look on his face, like, if only I could embrace the sun like you people.
Yeah, it's all around. It's very well done, and I talked to a lot of people. When I mention it, it seems that a lot of people don't know about it. So if you haven't, check it out. It's and I would recommend, if you haven't seen Nosferatu, watch Nosferatu first, and then watch Shadow of the Vampire. It'll make you see it in a whole new light. So
I think we just got our double bill.
So that's a few movies, and I mean, guys, we could go on like all night and just talk about like movies we think everyone should watch during Halloween. But I think that we've got enough hits in for movies. So I want to talk about some TV specials. These are not regular TV episodes. These are some things that were made for TV. They bring them out every year on Halloween. And I know there's going to be at least a couple that everybody's going to have in common. So let's talk about that. I want to talk about this one because in our Trick or Treat episode, we actually brought this up because there's a scene in Trick or Treat where a serial killer is burying a dead body in his backyard when his kid comes to the window and says, "Daddy, come and help me carve the jack-o'-lantern." And he says, "I'll be in a moment. Go watch Charlie Brown." And of course, the kid responds, which made me so happy. The kid responds with, "Charlie Brown's an asshole." And all I could think of when the first time I saw this was like, yes, finally somebody said it. But now, Charlie Brown is an asshole, but that certainly doesn't mean that every year I don't watch the it's the Charlie Brown Halloween special. Is called It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. That is, to me, like, ever since I was a tiny kid, an absolute must-see.
Yep, same here. Watch it pretty much every year.
I just watched it today.
Nice.
Forgot. So I thought I remembered all the best parts of it. No, there were parts that I completely lost to memory, and I'm so glad to have them back.
Every time I watch it, I always think that I've forgotten about the Snoopy scenes when he's pretending to be the World War I flying ace.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I always remember the main parts, about Linus going to the pumpkin patch to wait for the great pumpkin, and Charlie Brown's Halloween costume where he's a ghost and he's got like 100 eyeballs on it, eye holes cut into the sheet.
I had trouble with the scissors.
Yeah, but I always forget about the Snoopy part, that where he's dressed as a World War flying ace, a World War I flying ace, and his doghouse gets shot down by the Red Baron.
And he has to wander the French countryside.
Yeah. So yeah, that one's a must-see. It was the same thing with my wife. She watched this one every year. A few years ago, we went out and bought the DVD. It's a DVD episode that's got all these 4 different Charlie Brown TV specials. And yeah, so that one is definitely a must-see.
When he's you can't mention Charlie Brown without like his big phrase, like, "I got some turkey," or like, "I got some." I don't know. I was thinking about the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we heard you trick or treat.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Thanksgiving special, and then apparently I didn't stop thinking about it. But he was just like, I got 5 pieces of candy. I got 3 pieces of candy. I got a rock. Like, who the fuck hands out rocks to kids? I mean, like, yeah, like, it just means, like, even the grown-ups fucking hate Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Like, they want him to break his teeth on this. Like, at least give him poison candy if you don't want to see him. But, you know, rocks are obvious. He's not going to eat it.
We're talking about Charlie
I mean,
Brown.
he's depressed, but he's not stupid.
We're talking about. I was calling Charlie Brown an asshole because I mean, like, the reason why I said that is because. Can you imagine when you were a kid hanging around with somebody that's always like so down and depressed and making a big deal over like something that should be so simple and a day that should be so fun, and he just turns it into a big like worry party? But what kind of adults, what kind of people live in his neighborhood? What kind of assholes like have rocks in their house to throw in some kids' trick-or-treat bags?
And he's bald at 8. Like, is he going through chemo, or did his parents just shave his head because he got lice? Like, what's the story? Everyone else has hair, and he's bald.
The poor guy's stressed. Man, I'm losing my hair when I'm stressed, I think.
That's what. Maybe that's it.
Every day, life just pulls away the football.
I think somebody needs to make a Charlie Brown Pumpkinhead mashup.
Oh, there is. Not a movie, but there's a picture. It's probably on my Facebook profile somewhere anyway.
Oh, no way.
Of like,
But it's just a picture. It's just,
yeah,
a,
just
picture,
a
like
picture.
somebody's just got like.
Yeah, it's Linus and Sally standing in the field, and there's Pumpkinhead looming behind them.
Oh God.
I'll see if I could find it for you.
This should be a job for like Robot Chicken. Oh God, yeah.
That does sound like that.
That's all I think about. Ever since I saw Pumpkinhead, as like I always associate that with the Great Pumpkin. That's what's going to rise out of the pumpkin patch someday.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Even when he's arguing with Linus about like Santa versus the Great Pumpkin, he's just like, "You believe in Santa," and like he's an 8-year-old kid, and he goes, "I guess we're just separated by denominational differences."
But yeah, like I've always like I still find it funny. Like when I watch the special, like I still laugh at it, but I look at it a totally different way now, like as an adult than I did as a kid, especially as a parent. Because as a kid, I just think like, oh, it's so funny. It's like Linus is he's hanging out in a pumpkin patch all night, and Charlie Brown's depressed because Halloween's not going to live up to his expectations. And I'm watching it as an adult, and I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, these kids need therapy. And first of all, like, are these parents okay with just let their kids sleep out in a pumpkin patch all night? Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. Linus had his shit together during the Christmas special, but he's gone off the rails. Like, you think he was a Christian, but now he's putting his faith in a pagan deity waiting to visit him at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. And maybe their parents are all assholes anyway, and that's why they just, like, whenever the kids ask them a question, they just respond with, wah, 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 wah.
Because it doesn't matter what they say.
Yeah.
You know what those trumpet sounds never mean? I love you.
Oh, I just got your
explains it
picture,
all.
Robin. That is awesome. I'm gonna have to put that on, like, post this picture. That is freaking awesome. And then the Great Pumpkin Head rises from the pumpkin patch.
Well, that's why he invited Sally to the field, because she was going to be the sacrifice.
Oh, there you go. You got an angle for the movie now.
Sally really dodged a bullet that time.
Well, it could be like Linus. It could show like the Peanuts gang as teenagers, and Linus is like this weird little outcast, and he's been waiting for the Great Pumpkin since he's been 7 years old, and never shows up, and then he finds some. I don't know, some like magic spell book to bring.
Oh shit! I think I've seen this before. Wasn't that a Mad TV sketch?
Oh,
Where he did summon the Great Pumpkin and it went around killing the Peanuts characters?
Yes, and
starting
then
with him.
Charlie Brown had to have it fight the tree.
The crate-eating tree.
Yes.
wait, this does sound familiar. What is that from?
That's
Is
Robot Chicken.
Is it Robot Chicken?
I think so.
Shit, here
I
I
thought it
was
was Mad
thinking I was
TV.
coming up with something original. Okay, well, there's another one that I want to talk about, and that is the Garfield Halloween special.
Oh yeah.
You guys familiar with this one?
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
pirates.
yeah, that's
Ghost
awesome.
pirates.
So long ago.
Yeah, and that's another one that like it was funny. Like it wasn't that scary for most of it. It's only till you get to like probably like the final act of the show. When first of all, when they walk into the old guy's house, Garfield and Odie are trick or treating. It's pretty standard until they get into a boat and cross the river, and they walk into this old house. They're warming
He's
themselves
at
by
the
the
river
fire.
Styx.
And then when they turn around, this old man is sitting in the sitting in a chair,
He's pretty creepy.
and is voiced by James Earl Jones.
Oh my.
That's George Takei.
But yeah, that one scared me too as a kid. Like when it gets to that part when the old man is telling the story, and then you actually see like the pirate ship, the ghost pirate ship show up, and they can't even like when they see the pirate ghosts, they're not even just like, a clear like glowing silhouette of a pirate. They're these fucking like mashed together swirling mist like skeletal pirates. And holy crap, as a kid, that like
Garfield
really
meets
scared
the
me.
fog.
Exactly. Yes. Seriously, like no joke. I gotta turn my freaking phone off. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that is like, oh, this is great, kids will
Okay.
love it, and then you get to the end, and it's pretty intense, actually. It's
It
like,
is.
oh crap.
I just want to let you guys know that I'm in a room by myself. I'm recording in my like little office room here, and my phone is plugged in. I have an iPhone. It's plugged in and charging, and it just popped on, and Siri said, "I don't understand your question." I said nothing, let alone like I said nothing to
That's
Siri.
weird.
That's okay. I'm just gonna put this over here. Okay. But yeah, that one, that's a great one. I try to catch that one. I don't have that one on DVD. I've been trying to find it, but I haven't found it so far. But whenever I find out it's going to be on TV, I try to catch it or record it, because it's timeless. Like it just never it loses its appeal. Probably because it's short and we only see it once a year. So, but yeah, it's one. Now that's the big two for me. Do you guys have any other like TV specials, something that only comes on Halloween that you have to catch every year?
Well, I got a couple.
Oh, go for it.
They're not really Halloween specials, but there's 2 episodes of The Muppet Show. The one hosted by Vincent Price
Yes.
and the one hosted by Alice Cooper.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, since if no one else has any, like I was going to go into TV shows. This would be the next thing I want to talk about is TV shows. Regular like long running TV shows that have Halloween episodes. So yeah,
that would be that.
that fits the bill there, and yeah, that is 2 amazing ones. Once again, anything that involves Vincent Price is freaking awesome. And
Oh, shit, then there's like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I guess that's like a whole season of a Halloween thing.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But I'm trying to The Muppet Show was something like I watched regularly as a kid, but I'm trying to remember exactly like those episodes. The only thing I remember about the Vincent Price episode was Kermit turning into a vampire and biting him.
Yeah.
And I remember the Alice Cooper episode. Wasn't like they do a skit where he's talking to Miss Piggy, like telling her about how beautiful she is or something? And
I thought he performed "Feed My Frankenstein," and it was like that big Snookums
Oh, I don't think
monster.
it was Feed
No,
My
it was-
Frankenstein. That didn't
No,
come
it
until the
was
90s.
Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yep, Welcome to
Welcome to
My
My
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
oh yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
go.
shit, what was he famous for before then?
I'm 18.
But, like-
Oh my God! Yeah, he
School's
did it
out.
before-
Imagine at my young age, though, like, I'm like 7 or 6 or whatever, and there's Alice Cooper on my TV singing Welcome to My Nightmare at that age. Like, it's no wonder we got on the path that we're on now to be talking about horror now.
Yeah, really.
That was my musical upbringing, Alice Cooper. It's the first music I ever listened to. It was brought
Yeah.
up on Skeletons in the Closet. Like, yeah, it's like living Halloween through music.
Do you,
And
I
he
got
sings
introduced.
School's Out later in the episode, too. He sings School's Out, too. I think that's the one
Yeah.
with Snookums.
Yeah, Rick, like you, I remember being at your place and we were going through some of your dad's old vinyls, I think,
Yep.
and that's where we discovered, skeletons in my closet.
Yep. Formerly Warmer. Very, very creepy, weird stuff like having like siblings that are locked up in the attic and you feed them through the door stuff. Crazy, crazy, weird, creepy music. So awesome.
Is that the one that had Black Widow?
That was on Welcome to My Nightmare. That's the Black Widow.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, because that one has Vincent Price as well, right?
Yeah, he actually starts that song or comes on in the middle and starts talking about the Lepidoptera and all this stuff. Yeah, it's really cool.
Because it sounds like he's
The
like,
butterfly hunters?
Oh well, I think it's like a little bit of a story in the middle of the song, like almost like acting, and he's taking a little boy through this insect exhibit, and then they come eventually upon the Black Widow, and everything gets all intense and crazy. It's really neat.
Oh, you said like Lepidoptera, and I'm like, that's a butterfly, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like he's taking him through some kind of exhibit. Anyway, it's cool. You should listen to it. It's a neat little story.
that was one.
Maybe it's a butterfly with skulls on its wings.
Yeah, that was always an adventure going to your place because I'd always going to find some like new horror movie that I haven't heard of before, something very obscure that was going to be awesome, and also we got to dig through your dad's old vinyls and find like just some of the best like of this what I would like what most people would call odd 70s music, but like we just freaking loved it.
And just grew weirder from there over the years.
Yeah, it was a big influence on our music education, that's for sure. So yes, I remember Alice Cooper being on the Muppet Show, and I'm trying to think, wasn't there a scene where he's talking to Miss Piggy, telling her about how beautiful she is and describing her, and then when she looks at her reflection in the mirror, she's turned into some kind of monster or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I can't even remember the episode. It's so long ago. I can remember the performance. I'm gonna have to watch that one this year. That's on my
Yeah.
to do now.
So
No, it sounds like Eye of the Beholder.
when I was telling my son about what we're doing for this episode, and I mentioned that we were going to talk about TV shows, Halloween episodes, he wanted me to talk about one. So he wanted me to talk about a SpongeBob Halloween episode.
Yeah.
And there's a few of them, apparently. He was telling me about a few, but there's one in particular that he wanted me to talk about. The episode involves... I'm trying to remember like all the stuff about SpongeBob now, the characters. Mr. Krabs, he's the guy that owns the Krusty Krab, right? The restaurant that they work in.
Yeah.
So he decides that he wants to make the restaurant open 24 hours a day. And so SpongeBob and Squidward work the first night shift. And Squidward scares SpongeBob by telling him ghost stories, but then they both get kind of freaked out because all the stuff that Squidward made up and told them starts coming true. And it all plays out into like a funny story, and Nosferatu makes an appearance at the end, apparently. But the main reason that Logan, that's my son, wanted me to mention this is because it was the first SpongeBob Halloween episode he saw, and what is the title of that episode? The Graveyard Shift.
Ah, no way. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Kismet.
So when we were talking about this, he wanted me to mention that. So there you go, Logan, that's for you.
Nice.
So yeah, there's one show that I want to talk about, and like it doesn't really have like a Halloween episode per se, but the first season of Supernatural. I stopped watching Supernatural a long time ago because I mean, what's it in now? It's like in season 13 or something now, and I've been done with it for quite some time. Like I had just lost any appeal that it had, but the first season of Supernatural, when they were sticking to this Monster of the Week format, holy crap, you could pick any episode from pretty much like the main chunk of the first season and it would make like a perfect Halloween episode. Like seriously, I would highly recommend if you're not familiar with the show or you haven't watched it in a while or you have kind of forgotten season 1, go back and rewatch it because man, they take on ghosts like the ghost stories like Bloody Mary and the Woman in White, things like that. They tackle a Wendigo. There's all kinds of craziness going on. There's a haunted mental institute, and I had a revisit of it a little while ago. Just picked some random episodes from season 1, and they were all fantastic. It reminded me back when the show started, why I started watching the show in the first place. And it's too bad they kind of lost it way. Now, like primarily after like the first couple of seasons, they went on this whole we had like 6-7 seasons of this angels versus demon type of format. But that first season where they were like every week there were like a new monster would pop up and they had to figure out a way to find it and then kill it. It was just amazing.
Buffy had some good ones too. Some Halloween episodes.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't their first one the one where kids became their costumes?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
that
always
was season
remember.
1, I think, from what I remember.
Oh, that was just excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then they had another one, wasn't there one where Buffy's mom's friend found this weird mask and it turned people into zombies? Was that a Halloween one or just a regular
Might have
episode?
been a regular. But I find it funny in the Buffy universe. Apparently, Halloween is the quiet time.
it's
Like
a
the
safe
actual
night, right?
campfires, yeah.
It's the night that
It's still played out.
it's the night that all the monsters like take a night off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually like the safest night in that town to be out. Yeah, they did a good. That was good. That was their first season where everybody started becoming whatever their costumes were, and then they did another one which I think they were having a party in like an old house, and the band started drawing some symbols they found on a book on the floor just because they thought it made them look cool. And turns out like they actually like invoked some kind of spell by doing this, and it turned everything, all the decorations in the haunted house like alive.
Oh,
So it was
yeah.
it was attacking
that the
it
one
was
where,
attacking the partygoers.
Yeah, was that the one where like Buffy became like some people became cavemen?
I don't
I
remember
know,
that.
I know that was an episode.
That
of
was an
Buffy.
episode. It was
Yeah,
an
I'm not sure if
episode.
it was that episode.
Yeah. It does happen, though, yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was the same episode. Anyway, yeah, they get tortured in the house. Like it gives them visions, or the decorations try to kill them, or
Yeah. Now this is one that my wife said we should mention because you know how like these 80s and 90s sitcoms that like had nothing to do with nothing to do with any type of horror or anything like that, but they always had like some really like amazing Halloween episodes. Either not really like anything horror related, but they'd always have like some kind of Halloween party or something going on where you're looking at it and it's like these are just supposed to be regular people. Like they've got costumes that in reality would have cost like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
They talk about, I got to make the perfect Halloween costume, and like they have these very elaborate decorations. And thinking like these, like if this was real life, these guys would have shelled out like $10,000 to decorate their house for Halloween.
yeah, there was like an episode, like a Halloween episode of Home Improvement, where the only time you get to see Wilson, like not behind the fence, but he's dressed up as the Phantom of the Opera. So again, like you still don't get to see his face.
I didn't watch the show regularly, but my wife said that the show Roseanne used to have really good Halloween episodes.
Really?
Where they always had like really good costumes, and it was always had like they were always attending like a really well done Halloween party. She always used to say that those episodes used to always put her in the mood for Halloween. Like she would love to have gone to some of these parties.
I would like to see if Perfect Strangers had a Halloween episode, just so we can see if Balky can even be more bizarre and weird.
So now when
On the island of Meepos, we set a couch on fire for Halloween.
So, do you guys have a recommendation for like a show to if you're going to watch a TV show, whether it's like a normal TV show or a Netflix series or something like that, something that would make some good Halloween reading or watching? Sorry.
I'm desperately waiting for the new season of Stranger Things because it's going to take place on Halloween and it has those adorable kids dressed up as Ghostbusters.
Oh man, are you serious? I was gonna say Stranger Things, yeah. So I didn't know about the second season, what that was gonna be like. That's cool.
You didn't see the trailer? It's fantastic. It's got clips of whatever's coming, and it's all underneath tied together with the Vincent Price rap from Thriller.
What?
Dude, check it. Stranger Things season 2 Thriller. Just
are you pulling my
afterwards,
leg
but-
here, man?
No. This is
No.
serious, dude. You got to check
wow.
out the trailer for Stranger Things season 2.
Alrighty, sounds good to me.
like, yeah, the Upside Down place is not done with them.
Is Vincent Price popping up in a lot of stuff we're talking about tonight?
He is. Yeah, it's kind of
He
thematic.
should.
Well, he's an
It
icon.
would be a sin if he didn't.
So while we're talking, Rick just sent me a link, sent me a text with a link to some. It's called Trick or Treat Studios and a list of like some really like high end Halloween masks. And holy crap, you should see these things. I'm especially loving the Alice Cooper mask.
Yeah. There's some intense stuff here. You were talking about the like expensive costumes. This is not the highest expensive stuff, but there's some pretty quality stuff here. I check this out every year and then never actually buy anything, but one of these years I'm going to. It's amazing.
Mike, especially they've got a line of masks from a lot of the characters from American Werewolf in London. They've got, of course, the wolf. They've got Jack from when he's in his fully decomposed look, and they've got some from the dream sequences where David is in the hospital bed when he's dreaming. When he wakes up, and he's got like almost like a half transform or like a vampire look to it. And they've even got the Nazi werewolves here.
If that's the site I'm thinking, I think they also have the crate monster from Creepshow.
Oh, they do. That is.
It is, yeah, it's
yep,
there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, I'm sorry, but
I want
I'm
that
just going through the
mask.
list. I'm just going through the list, and everything is all like this is all their. I'm looking at their page with all their horror masks. So we're seeing like Alice Cooper, and then there's Twisty the Clown, and all the an American Werewolf in London masks, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Apollo Creed from Rocky is there.
Is that pre or post pummeling from?
It's
From the
free.
Russian.
It's just Apollo Creed. It's like Trick or Treat Studios, and it's like your full head Halloween mask, and it's just all horror things, like everything to do with horror, and then just out of nowhere, it's Apollo Creed. They even got a Blackula mask. Oh my god, that is awesome! I'm gonna take a look at that later. I'm gonna post that link as well because that is friggin' amazing.
So awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna go to some of our little love letters that we've received here. Wolf Baby on Twitter says, "We celebrate Halloween by our whole family acts in a kick-ass haunted attraction for the entire month of October." That's pretty cool. Like I'm assuming it's like an actual family, like parents and some kids. And that's what they do for every weekend in October. That's pretty awesome. And our boy Jack Torrance, he really liked our episode about The Shining. On Facebook says, "I first saw The Japanese Ring on TV on Halloween night. I knew absolutely nothing about it. Needless to say, blew my socks off. That's my new Halloween tradition." So watching The Ring, so that would be the original one. And
The Ringu.
yeah, that's it. And this one I actually like because Ron on Twitter says, "One of my favorite things to do through October for the past few years is watch Cinemassacre's Monster Madness with James Rolfe." Most people, if you're not familiar with him, you probably know him best as the Angry Video Game Nerd. Each day of October, he would release a new video reviewing a horror movie. Unfortunately, last year, year 10, was the final one. So I've seen those, and he's one of my favorite movie reviewers because I just like his take on movies, the way he sees them. He really has an appreciation that he expresses it very vividly. And yeah, I agree. I've seen some of the Cinemassacre Monster Madness, and they do a different movie review for a horror movie, one for each day of October. So throughout the month, you get one per day. So you've got 31 movie reviews by the time October is done.
I remember the Godzilla-thon from a few years back.
Yeah, sometimes they do themes, like they did a Godzilla-thon where they did like 31 Godzilla movies.
Holy cow. That's
And,
awesome.
Oh god, there's 31 of those.
Well,
Yeah.
more than that now. That was years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's been a few more since then, and especially like I know you're a huge Godzilla fan, so there's something you should check out.
Nice.
And they did like sequel-a-thon where they pick a movie that had multiple sequels, and they would just cover all the sequels. And I think they did one theme called Camp Cult where they picked out like the campiest low-budget movies for that, for, like 31 of the worst of those offenders. So, and Laura on Facebook says, "We hold a Halloween party every year since we bought our house and decorate severely." Severely, I guess. Just,
Severedly.
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the word, but well, I'm not here to correct her grammar. Whatever.
There's limbs hanging from everything. They decorate severedly.
We play horror movie trivia games and give prizes for the best costume, and that sounds pretty familiar because that's pretty much what me and that we've been doing since we moved into this house. So cool. So we talked about some movies and some TV shows, some just some Halloween episodes. Let's talk about some music. What I'm going to kick it off because there's one we've already kind of mentioned it. This is what I think is my favorite Halloween soundtrack because I can just let this album play, and not I don't do it at a party anyway because some people want to dance and stuff, so they want something a little more upbeat. But Alice Cooper's "Welcome to My Nightmare" for me is the number one Halloween soundtrack.
I have to ask which one. Welcome to
What's
My
that?
Nightmare? I said I have to ask which one. Welcome to My Nightmare or Welcome to My Nightmare?
The first one, "Welcome to My Nightmare."
Fair enough. Yeah, the first one is quite.
Then there's Welcome with My Nightmare, but the E is replaced with the 3.
That's coming soon. Maybe.
I hope not.
That's his Bat Out of Hell 3.
So, what about you guys? Like, what do you have? Like, anything particular that you prefer to like? I mean, I could listen to that anytime, but I prefer. What I mean is, when I say it's a Halloween soundtrack, is that I prefer to listen to it during the Halloween season. So, do you guys have any music that you feel like that? Like, you feel like Halloween is the only real time when it really fits?
There's an obvious one, Thriller,
Oh yeah, of course.
Yep.
with more Vincent Price.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Coming
I've got so much music. It's not even funny. I've got a YouTube playlist with some stuff on there, some kid stuff, some more metal stuff. But like that is my specialty. I mean, I don't watch that many movies, but music. Oh my god. Like Paradise Lost, Ember's Fire. If you don't know that one, check that out on
yeah.
Halloween. The atmosphere of that, the music video is just creepy. It's not like typical Halloween. It's just basically lots of shots of this creepy millipede, but the music encapsulates the feeling of Halloween for me. And also Cradle of Filth, their first few albums is just like being in a horror movie soundtrack with lots of metal guitars added in and stuff. Their second or third album, it's a concept album. The entire album is a story based on the life of Elizabeth Bathory, and it's some pretty crazy sound effects, like amazing music. It's just like super creepy. Like highly recommended as Halloween listening. And then I'd say the top one, very obscure, but there's a band called Devil Doll. There's a rockabilly band, a newer band called Devil Doll. Don't listen to those guys. I don't know what they sound like. It's not the one. Devil Doll. It was this, I believe it was Italian guy, totally obscure. You could, like, when he existed, you couldn't find any information on him. He just released albums and no one knew who he was or where he came from, nothing. Totally obscure. But basically, if you listen to this music, it's almost like classical music that's meant to drive you insane. Like, it's bizarre. It's absolutely creepy. Like, if you've heard the soundtrack for a horror movie, like the strings and the weird creepy sounds, this is beyond that. And each album is basically one song, and the song is like anywhere from 40 to 60 minutes, and it just goes through absolute madness. The lyrics take you through the most twisted, creepy horror plots, and if you lay back in the dark and listen to it with headphones on, you'll actually start to question whether or not it's good for your sanity. It is intense. So Devil Doll. Heliogabalus is a good album. The Girl Who Was Death is another good album. And Dies Irae. Like, oh man, you don't need anything else for Halloween music. That will freak anybody out.
Awesome. I knew you were going to have some good stuff.
The music, I got the music covered.
So this Devil Doll sounds like the horror music version of Banksy.
Oh my god. Pretty much. As
You don't
good
know
as
where
you
he
can
is,
get.
but he leaves something that makes you think.
Oh, there's one brilliant part. I don't want to spoil it, but in Dies Irae, or however you say it, there's one part that's got this really soft spoken part. It's like singing a lullaby about this fly, who a mother fly who has a child, and then the child died, and the mother fly was really sad. And it's just really, really soft, really sweet. And then we got the headphones on, right? These loud, super loud, orchestrated, screaming horror sounds come out, and it actually makes your heart jump. Like, it's the only time I've listened to music and gotten a jump fright like you would in a movie. Like, it's set up that way because you're straining to hear this little melody, and then boom, out of nowhere, it frightens the crap out of you. It's amazing.
So we got a tweet related to music, so I just wanted to put that in here. Blood Babe on Twitter said that one of her favorite Halloween albums that she busts out every October is Rob Zombie's Hellbelly Deluxe.
Ooh.
Now, and she said she has a special connection to this one because the song Living Dead Girl, there's two videos for this song. One is just like where they do kind of a tribute to the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It's a more theatrical one, it's acted out. But there's another video where they show Rob. It's just a video showing a live performance. Just showing some concert clips of Rob Zombie. She said she's actually in the crowd when they filmed this video. She was 17 at the time when it came out.
Nice.
So she said she always feels that she's got a little bit of a connection to this album, and she busts it out every Halloween to listen to it. So yeah, that's good. You guys got any more music that put you in the mood for Halloween?
There's a cover soundtrack to the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack that's got like Marilyn Manson and Korn and all them singing the songs from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
That's got some great stuff too. Like the Marilyn Manson version of This Is Halloween is pretty cool.
I've heard that one. I haven't heard the other songs. I didn't listen to the album, but I have probably on YouTube or something. I have heard the Marilyn Manson version of This Is Halloween.
Yeah.
And speaking of This Is Halloween, the best cover of that song that I've heard, we actually, a while ago, Mike, I think you posted it to our Facebook page.
I did.
It was by this band called Broken Peach. They do this in a way, it's a 7-piece band. They have 4 ladies singing, and then they have 3 guys playing guitar, bass, and drums for their for the music. And they just do it in a way that I can't even describe it. Like, I can't describe the sound. It's certainly not metal or anything hardcore or anything like that. But they've got a kind of a... It's hard to describe, like, because the music is rock, but the girls singing, they've kind of got like an old school, like 1940s, like World War II era sound to them.
I just added it to my watch later, so there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, check that one out. They do they do a great job. And I don't know how many times I listened to it. Like, I was like, when Mike first posted it, I think I was doing some house cleaning and just had it like playing on my phone, just like on the first weekend of October, just listening to it a couple of times. And I'm like, yeah, I like the Marilyn Manson version of that song first. That was always my go-to for This Is Halloween, but now it's this one.
I'll check it out.
Yep, do that. Okay, so I got a story somebody sent us. I asked for some, like, not only, what your Halloween rituals are, but some stories about Halloween from some of our listeners. And John on Twitter says, when I was a teenager, I was chased by a ghost through a graveyard on Halloween, and I accidentally fell into an open grave. That's it. That's the whole story.
Awesome.
Wow, this kid lived Creepshow.
But so that one was a pretty short one, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. But we have got a bit of a longer story from friend of the show and past guest Alexander Stephen Brown. He tweeted us what his Halloween plans for this Halloween and what he's done for the past few Halloweens. He says, "We celebrate Halloween with dinner, drinks, and a seance. We have done this for the last 5 years and have received a great response. It's normal for us to have a change in room temperature, breezes that come out of nowhere, and we hear knocking at random times. Due to the seances we have performed, we have brought closure to friends and relatives. On a few occasions, some non-believers have attended and changed their point of view. It is normal for tears to follow the seance we perform due to closure among the living. It happens so frequently that I call our seance table the Table of Tears. Each year we invite 2 guests to participate because everything is exhausting and it takes a long time to perform. We do not allow anyone to join if they intend to laugh or mock the spirits. A lot of people are against what we do because we do use a Ouija board. However, if the board is used correctly, there is nothing to fear." And he goes pretty deep because if you go to our Twitter page, I retweeted a blog he wrote about the do's and don'ts of using a Ouija board. Oh,
Wow.
he takes this pretty seriously. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I would love to attend that.
That is awesome.
Don't put the planchet on your wiener and go, I feel the spirit.
So you're not invited, I take it, Mike.
No, Mike. Sorry, bud.
I think I just disinvited myself.
You're out.
Come on, Marilyn Monroe. Come on.
So Christine on Twitter says, "I was disenchanted with Halloween by the time I was 18. Too old to trick or treat, and too young for more risque parties. Parents said no. As a family, we had no Halloween traditions except trick or treat. It was lame. I loved everything horror, so life sucked. Saw Night of the Living Dead was going to be on MTV. This was in 1982. Had never seen it before, so settled in. It was awesome. Now it's a family tradition. Watch it on Halloween night. Kids are grown now, but we still watch the film. So shout out to George Romero for making me a lifelong fan. You changed my life for the better. Rest in peace." And she hashtagged it "Zombies Forever." Okay, so Mike, I know I'm gonna disclude you from this one right away, bud, but because we've talked about this before. You guys got anything that you like to read on Halloween? Something that, like, you've got nothing to do on an October day, something to put you in kind of a spooky Halloween mood?
Oh, heck yes.
Knew
Can't
it.
remember quite what it's called. I need to think about it. Something like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark or Spooky Stories to Tell in the Dark by
Yes!
Stephen Gamble. Yeah, like, oh my God. They were stories I read when I was young. But
Yep.
the stories themselves weren't necessarily that scary, but the illustrations in that book
Yes.
were absolutely terrifying. And still are to
I-
this day. It's like, how does a mind even conjure up those crazy, creepy pictures? Holy cow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, the stories were pretty much hit or miss. Like when we were younger, like they, like some that we found a little scary. When you get a little older, they're not so much. So the stories were kind of hit or miss. Some were pretty graphic though, like the way in their descriptions. Because I remember one especially where some lady had a pimple, what she thought was a pimple on her face that
That's
kept getting bigger
The creepiest
until
one of
one
all.
day it finally burst and like a nest of spiders started crawling out of it.
Yeah, the picture
But
of her
you're
face,
right.
man.
Like
Oh.
the stories were hit or miss, but those illustrations, holy crap! Some of them as a kid, I had a hard time looking at them.
Yeah, no, that was. I remember doing that, and like we go stay in this like little hut we had built in the woods, sleep over at night, and
Yes.
and like you'd be trying to like look at the pictures and then like closing the book. So instead of telling ghost stories, we'd like dare each other to look at the pictures in the book. It was just too freaky. Oh my God, it was crazy.
Yeah. Oh, Rick, you just reminded me of something. I gotta tell these guys because as soon as you mentioned about this like little shack/cabin thing we had built in the woods where we used to go and have sleepovers every once in a while, do you remember we were there, a bunch of us, and like we were probably like early teens, maybe not even like maybe preteens. We had this Ouija board that we built ourselves. And we were going to try to do a little seance. We went to this is late at night. We had some candles lit in the thing. And, we were asking the spirits to give us a sign that they were there.
Oh yeah.
And just as we said it a few times, and finally, like, one of our friends got a little louder and louder, and spirits, if you're there, give us a sign. A freaking moth flew right into the flame of the candle just as he said that. And so all of a sudden we just see like one of the candles just like flare up.
Oh my God.
And something like on fire like falls out and lands on the floor and starts like flopping around the floor. So, man,
Stuff. Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know how the door stayed on that cabin. Because, like, it was record time. That thing was packed full with a bunch of kids, and, like, in half a second, it was empty.
Something small died. Run!
Exactly.
Something flaming and small on fire. Oh dear God.
Oh, my God. That scared the crap out of me. It was hilarious afterwards, like, because it was one of those things you didn't even have to go back to see what happened. Like, as soon as you replay the events in your head, you knew what happened. But still, it didn't make it any less scarier at the second that it actually occurred.
Good God, yeah, pretty nuts. A lot of
Yeah.
weird things happen when we were all together. It's strange.
Yeah, all the time. I think we like willed it to happen sometimes.
Yep.
Well, one of the things I'm glad you brought that up. Scary stories to tell in the dark, or spooky stories to scare in the dark, whatever it was called. Because especially around Halloween time, I think the best thing to read instead of reading like a whole novel is something with like a book of short stories is the way to go. Because just like something to get you in the mood, you can pick up a book, read it for like 15-20 minutes or so, and get a couple of like short stories knocked out of the way. So once again, going back to our friend Alexander Stephen Brown, he has a great one called "The Night the Jack-o'-lantern Went Out," and that is a collection of short stories, specially written for Halloween. And you guys get a chance, check it out. It's available on Amazon. You can buy a hardcover or download it, and I totally recommend it. So worthwhile. So I got another. This one made me laugh. I got another Halloween story. Someone that I'm just going to call Kat told us a story what she calls her best Halloween ever. Kat says that her and her cousin crashed the Mars Attacks rap party that happened to be on Halloween in 1996. So the movie Mars Attacks, the Tim Burton movie.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So apparently their rap party for this movie happened to be on Halloween, so they had a rap/Halloween party. She says, "We found out where the party was happening and came up with a plan to get in. We bought several containers of ice cream and went to the party location and said we were there to deliver ice cream to the party. We figured if we didn't get in, at least we had lots of ice cream to pig out on. Well, apparently security wasn't too tight, so we walked in with some other people who were delivering food, and we just stayed. Ate lots of food, drank way too much, and partied with some of the cast and crew. Best party ever. Not sure what happened to the ice cream."
Was Tom Jones performing?
I don't know. She doesn't say, but see, I know that was like relatively. That wasn't a long time ago. That was what, 21 years ago. Holy shit! I can't believe that movie's like 21 years old now. But anyway, something tells me like that wouldn't happen today.
No.
That you wouldn't just walk into like some movie's rap party like that. Rick, what the hell are you sending me, man?
Oh, I'm just sending stuff for follow up on Facebook afterwards. Just keeping the content flowing. It's the scary stories. It's that book. There's the 15 most disturbing pictures from that book.
Sweet. Yeah.
So yeah,
Crap.
that's
You guys are
something
sending me, like,
everybody
a
should
dozen-
see.
You guys are sending me like a dozen things I'm gonna have to post afterwards.
The other thing that comes to mind when you just thinking back to books now is one thing I wish I had but I can't afford, but that's the Encyclopedia of Monsters. That thing we found in the
Yes.
library in Port Saunders, Newfoundland. Holy cow, that is the best tome ever.
I've looked for that book every time I'm at a library or bookstore,
Yeah.
and I'm not joking. Anytime. It was just like it says, Encyclopedia of movie monsters. Everything from like Nosferatu up to Godzilla.
Everything. It's the thickness of an encyclopedia with that much information on each monster you could ever think of. Just amazing.
And I know, like, these days you can just Google all the information you want, but I'm sorry, maybe I'm just old, but, like, it's not the same to me. I would love to have this as, like, a collector's item, just this freaking movie monster encyclopedia that I could just, like, pick up and flip through.
Well, the brilliant thing about a book is that it's on a specific topic and everything's there in one place in your hand, whereas if I want to look up all this stuff about monsters, I got to do, like, 25, 30 Google searches to figure out 25, 30 monsters. It's a book is cool for that.
Yeah. Okay, guys, question for you. Since we just heard a story about someone's best Halloween ever, what's your best Halloween ever? I'm going to go first. This was the last time that I went trick-or-treating. Because I figured like this was going to be the last time, and I kind of gotten out of trick-or-treating. Like I was kind of on the fence that Halloween. I think it was probably when I was 14, so it was like, yeah, probably to a lot of people that was too old to be trick-or-treating anyway, but I didn't really care. But I kind of gotten like more into the appeal of like decorating the house and like dressing up in a costume and like scaring trick-or-treaters, or like, you know, operating the decorations or whatever, because some of the Halloween decorations I made used to get a little elaborate, so they actually required somebody to operate them. And so me and two friends decided that this was going to be the last time we were going trick-or-treating. So what we did is we did like our normal trick-or-treating, went and picked out a costume that we were going to wear, something that was, you know, a bit of a, not higher end, but like more, had a little more appeal to it. I think that year I might have been Alice Cooper, and I'm thinking of it, as my main costume. But what made this Halloween so good is that we actually went trick-or-treating 3 times that night. We had our main costumes that we went around our area, our community, trick-or-treating. Went to one of our friends' house and stashed our costumes. Then broke out some cheap costumes that we, cheap costumes that we bought at a dollar store. Just some cheap dollar store mask, and threw a sheet over us. Went around trick-or-treating a second time, and then went back to his place and did the same thing again. So we hit our town 3 times that night.
Awesome.
And it was a late night, but it was good. And I was like, what a way to cap off your last a memory. You didn't just go trick or treating; we did it 3 times.
Sweet.
So it was quite the candy haul that year.
Yep.
And Rick, you didn't. I got to bring up one thing, man, because you're someone else who used to go pretty elaborate with your Halloween decorations.
Oh yeah.
So elaborate that one year, I think you might have had some people come to your house and advise your parents that you had to take down some of your decorations.
Yes, that was actually correct. Well, as an older adult, I can see where the concern came from. But basically, we'd create all kinds of stuff. We'd build fences, we'd build coffins, we'd have all kinds of masks and stuff.
Because your dad got into Halloween pretty good as well, right?
Well, yeah, he started it, right? He was the one who started it for me, and then we just gradually built more together every year. And yeah, anyway, so one year he had built this kind of gallows, I guess, if you will, and we had then a pair of coveralls with a mask stuffed with leaves and stuff, so it was like a person. We had it hanging by a noose, so that caused some concern from people in the town and prompted some visits and some talkings that led to us bringing that down. So yeah, that was an interesting experience as a kid, not really thinking about it might be touching on some past experiences and emotions in people, so I didn't really ever think of that. But yeah, that's what happened there. And
right.
So we toned it down a bit for the years after. We still did tons of stuff, but nothing quite as quite
Because I remember seeing your Halloween displays and thinking this is what you had this is what people were okay with. So I can't imagine what it looked like what got everybody's backs up if this is what they were okay with. What did it look like before that?
Yeah, Lord.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was my best Halloween. We went trick-or-treating 3 times, but I'm going to say as a kid, the worst Halloween was the time that my town decided that they were going to move Halloween because the 31st fell on a Sunday.
Are you serious?
They
used to
did.
happen here too, yeah.
They did it there in your hometown?
Yeah, it did it here too.
Oh,
Oh
that
my
pissed me
God.
off so much. I was really young when it happened. I was probably only 10 years old or something. But Halloween fell on October 31st fell on a Sunday, and some uppity religious folks decided that we couldn't have kids go trick or treating because that's the devil's night. You can't have it on Sunday when it's the Lord's Day. And so they actually took a vote. The town council took a vote, and they actually decided to move Halloween to the Saturday night before.
That's crazy.
Oh, I was so pissed off. I was so mad.
So I remember this too when it happened here. Me and my friend went trick or treating anyway, but there would be certain houses that were where the people went to church, but there was one family that was really snotty about it. Had a sign up and just had some religious message on there. It was you're asking to get egged, right?
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely,
people-
because we already
stuff like
had
that.
a few houses that were targets on Halloween because they were they wouldn't give out any candy, or if you made a mistake going to your house, they would put some religious pamphlets in your trick or treat bag or something.
Oh,
And so I'm really come on, you're just asking for it now.
yeah. I've never actually egged anybody, but just I said, putting a sign up on your door condemning people for trick or treating on the 31st, that's just silly.
Yeah.
That's
We've
a
only
whole other
got-
debate, though.
We've only seen one house since I've lived in this area, the Toronto area. I've only seen because most people, if they don't want trick or treaters, then they just don't put up any decorations, turn their lights off or whatever, And that's, I think it's silly, but like it's fine if you don't want to celebrate it. That's up to you. But we actually, because me and my wife always laughed at it when we drove by it. There was someone nearby that had a sign in their door that just said "No Halloween, please." We don't know if it was like they just didn't want trick or treaters, or it was like some kind of like protest against the day, whatever. But we always have a chuckle at that, and it's like multiple years that sign goes up. Okay, so Mike, you're a little quiet, buddy. Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Is Halloween a traumatic day for you? Do you want to talk about it?
Oh, I haven't gone trick or treating in such a long time.
It's been like 2 or 3
But
years.
there was one memory that stands out, and that was when I had two of my friends, which I was friends with separately. Because like one was like a friend that didn't go to my school, and the other one was the one that did. So I decided it was time to get these two guys together, and they didn't quite get along.
Yeah.
And one of my friends was like this big, well, I don't want to say, well, he was like less than sharp.
Okay.
But he was a cool dude, and he was dressed as Davy Crockett or Daniel Boone, and one of those Frontiers guys with like the coonskin cap.
Right.
I forget what my other friend was dressed as, but we were going out trick or treating, and he asked these questions, and apparently my friend he thought that some of his questions or comments were less than inspired. So at one point he asked if the if the raccoon hat was to keep the stone warm.
Okay.
And I just thought, there might be a fight here, but that was one diss I am going to remember for life. And I did. And there wasn't a fight, but yeah, it's that was like one of my big trick-or-treating memories.
Cool. Well, guys, I want to talk about something, and this still burns me because this is a recent thing. But I want to talk about when I first moved to the Toronto area. One of the first Halloween celebrations that I did was I went to the Black Creek Pioneer Village All Hallows Eve celebration. Now, if you're not familiar with the Black Creek Pioneer Village, well, what it is kind of right there in the title. It's just like a village, a little section here in the Toronto area that has been preserved. It's untouched from the way it looked in the 1800s.
If the creek is black, there's problems.
Well, I mean, doesn't the title like just sound like something out of like a horror movie anyway?
Oh, totally.
And
yeah, it sounds like a class action lawsuit waiting to
but
happen.
what they've got done is you go to the Black Creek Heritage Museum. So you've got like a standard museum where you've got some displays of some old artifacts and things and some stories about people that first settled there. And then when you walk through the museum, if you exit through the back, it leads you to this pioneer village. So they got like all the old houses and a blacksmith shop and an old tavern and restaurant and everything there. And they have people in dressed in the period clothing walking around. And you go to the different places and they tell you, give you some history of the place and a little history lesson about how things were back then. But for every weekend in October, they switch it up to all like the Halloween, All Saints, macabre, more of a macabre type of thing. Like when you go to the blacksmith shop, they'd like make coffin nails there, and they tell you about when they have the old coffins where they would actually attach a bell to it because there was people that would be dead. They would claim they were dead. They would bury them, and they would wake up, in their buried in their coffins. And all this stuff, and it was fantastic. You got to do a free roam. You just roam around this place and pop into the different places. You get a lecture, like a little history of the place from there. They tell you about all the ghosts related to the different houses and stuff. And they had actors dressed in monster costumes roaming around the woods surrounding it and stuff. So you get little glimpses of those things, and every once in a while they'd pop out. In some of the houses, they were holding seances and doing all kinds of stuff. They had like a little magic shows going on. they had an old, like I said, the old taverns there. You go in, you could grab a beer that was made like the old-fashioned ale type of stuff, which was fucking gross. It tasted like flat Guinness. So, barf. But still, it was pretty cool. I was like, I honestly don't know how alcohol caught on, if that's how it started. But anyway.
Because life was just that
Yeah.
fucked up.
And then, like, we were roaming around this place, and then when you get tired, like I said, you go to tavern, have a sit down, have a drink, or you go to the town hall where they had somebody by candlelight reading some Edgar Allan Poe.
Nice.
Oh,
And so that
shit.
was I was like, I could spend the whole night right there. So we did it a couple years in a row, and it was great. Then we took a year off from it to do some other stuff, and finally said a couple years ago we were going to go back. But when I went to buy tickets, they had changed the format of it. Instead of it being this free roam thing, they had a selection of 3 different tickets that you could buy. And each ticket that you purchased brought you to only 1/3 of the village, and it was a guided tour. You had a guide that would take you around, so you had a limited amount of time, and once you were done, you were like ushered out of it. And so it was just a money grab. It was a way now, in order to like see the entire Pioneer Village, instead of buying 1 ticket and just spending as much time as you wanted there, you had to purchase 3 tickets if you wanted to see the whole thing, or just pick the tour that you wanted and see 1/3 of it.
Well, that's too bad.
And so that really ticked me off. Last year I wrote them an email just saying, hey, like, really disappointed with the way you've done this. The free roam version was much better. Is there any chance you're going to go back to this? And they gave me some gave me some bullshit story. It's like it was too hard to keep it organized that way, but nobody's buying that. It is just a way for them to get more money. So,
Sold.
calling you out, Black
Well-
Creek Pioneer Village. I'm going to post it when this episode airs. I'm going to post it on your website. I'm just going to post this on your Facebook page, and I'm just going to the only comment I'm going to make is the timestamp to get to this part. So fuck you guys.
You're on the graveyard. You're on the graveyard shit list.
Exactly.
Unless you want to become an advertiser.
We'll edit this. If you want,
Yeah, no,
if you,
fuck you.
if you want to become a sponsor and advertiser, we'll take this episode down and just crop this part right out and replace it with just the first part.
No, we'll just end it, but with a big not. The place is awesome.
Or you just crop out the part of me, like only leave the part of me at the beginning talking about how awesome it was. So, guys, before
We could just throw like a Mr. Black segment in there, be like the idea of segmented tours is a progressive and innovative move.
So, guys, before we wrap this up, I got a couple more things from the listeners, and I saved these for last because these are absolute love letters to us. So, Darren on Facebook says his new tradition this year is checking out the Graveyard Shift's 31 Days of Horror each day and watching any movies we suggest that he hasn't already seen. So that is pretty cool. Thank you, Darren. And finally, we got an email from our girl Chelsea Ford, who says, my Halloween this year will be handing out candy to trick-or-treaters, watching some scary movies, and listening to the Graveyard Shift. Love you guys.
Aw.
That's so sweet. Thank you, Chelsea.
Love you too, Chelsea.
She's always got some great comments for us. So,
Oh. Yes.
Robin, Rick, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was great to be back again.
Oh, for sure. And we got to get you guys back. Robin, you did a great job with us with our Bubba Hotep episode, so definitely got to get you to come back and cover a movie with us again. Rick, same with you, man. We're going to have to get you to pick one of these freaking obscure Scandinavian subtitle movies or something that you showed me before. we can
good.
cover on the show that stars some black metal singer that like I've never heard of before either.
Maybe I'll get you to watch Lords of Darkness. There you go. We'll start with that. It's like horror in real life.
There
Documentary
you go.
style.
That is awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. And before we go, just let everyone know that we want to hear from you. If you have any movie suggestions for us for our upcoming episodes, you got a few ways you can suggest it. go to send us an email, I should say, at graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Twitter at GYS_horrorpod, or you can get us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. If you'd like to make a donation to the show to help with promoting us and advertising, promotion, and just to keep the costs of the show covered, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/graveyard. All our Patreon sponsors get access to some exclusive bonus episodes that our regular listeners don't get. Every month we post a new one, so go check those out. And of course, not everybody has the money to give us money, but you can still help us out a ton by going on iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe. In the long run, that actually does the most to help us out. If you're not an iTunes user, you can still check us out on Google Play or on Stitcher. And I'm not sure because I don't use those. I'm not sure if they have a rating process there, but if they do, give us a rating there. We'd appreciate it. If none of those options are available to you, just do like you're doing. You're listening to the podcast somehow, keep doing it. Whichever way you're getting us in your earballs, keep doing that. And
unless you're only be able to listen to us in the pool of blood of an orphan, then, there are other more effective ways to get the podcast.
No, I'm good with that too. That's fine. As long as you hear us. And share us on social media, word of mouth. If you think anyone's interested in what we have to say, then please let us know. Want to thank our guests again, Robin and Rick. Thank you guys for joining us so much. This was freaking awesome. So good to have a good Halloween chat with you. Mike, thank you as always for being an awesome co-host. And if people want to hear more from you, how could they go about doing that?
Well, you can check out the Playing with Power podcast on playingwithpowerpodcast.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, Google. It's me and my buddies. We read Nintendo Power Magazine, or we try to, while getting incredibly distracted and vulgar. And occasionally we also have a show called the Taste Test, which is just me and a couple of friends playing old NES games that we missed as kids. And by the time this airs, we should have the Halloween grab bag episode, which we did one last year, where we played 4 scary monster NES games like Fester's Quest, Monster Party, Monster in My Pocket. And now this year we'll be doing a movie theme.
Cool. I was going to say, you guys should cover make a Halloween episode where you cover some games. We didn't talk about that in the episode. I'm just going to blurt it out real quick. Let's all give a shout out one real quick. I'm going to say my top Halloween theme, not theme, but what I like to play on Halloween, what puts me in the mood. Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4 on the Super NES.
That's mine.
I knew it.
I can come up with another one. You guys go.
Oh, yeah, I got one. It's not regarded as a good game, but when I was young, me and my friends would play the crap out of Friday the 13th for the NES.
Oh, nice.
Good one.
Have you played the new one?
No.
The recent one? One of the skins that they have for the new Friday the 13th game is actually like the old NES skin where he's wearing a purple suit and has a green face.
Oh, yeah. Like, I know
Jason,
nobody regards it as a good game anymore, but we played the crap out of it when we was young because it's all we had. So
Yeah.
this was
We
one of
played
those
that
things.
quite a bit too, didn't we?
Nobody knew what we were doing, but we just played till we all died.
Yo, don't you mean till you were dead and your friends were dead?
Until you were wiped out, because Jason wiped out the kids.
Yep.
I believe that was the message.
Yeah, despite the fact, did he ever kill a kid in the movies?
He killed everybody.
Yeah, but did he ever kill a kid, or was it always just like sexy teenagers?
Just teens and
And
some
some
meddling
adults.
adults, that's all.
I think at one they hit
Yeah,
that
that's
he ate
weird.
a dog. Or was that Michael? Maybe they both did.
Michael Myers ate a dog. That was in one of the Rob Zombie remakes, though, right?
No, I think even the old one.
Oh, Oh, I thought it was just a remake. Anyway, and Mike, what about you? Suggestion for a game to play on Halloween?
I'm gonna try to play Bendy and the Ink Machine. It's a it's a indie game. The first episode is free, so there's no barrier to entry. There's no reason not to try this. It's on Steam. It's free. It's about an animator who returns to a studio 30 years later after receiving a mysterious telegram to finally assemble the machine. But when he does, ink sprays all over the place, revealing messages on the walls like "the creator betrayed us, who's laughing now?" And it becomes evidence that the cartoons that he created 30 years ago were more than just pen, ink, and paper. They want to be real.
Awesome. So Rick, since I stole your entry, do you have another one for us?
Yes, I do. It's a newer game. Well, not new, but Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Oh,
that is incredible. You wake up in this weird mansion and you have to try and get out. There's like no weapons, there's nothing. You're basically wandering this creepy place, the creepy soundtrack, and every now and then you can hear something coming around the corner. You're like, what the hell is this? And there's, I don't even know what they are. Some kind of crazy monster trying to get you as you're trying to escape this house. You got to do weird things like find closets and hide in them. And you can hear the monster walking around as you're looking at blackness and shaking things and trying to find you. And it's absolutely terrifying. It's like just the ultimate first person stuck in a horror movie game. Awesome.
Nice. I know. I remember that game. There's a lot of running and hiding in that game, right?
Yep. It's just purely intense creepiness.
Awesome. Good pick. Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to go with Castlevania 4 as your first pick because that was one of our most played games when we were kids.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I like that, just the theme of it, and it's got like all the old, what I call the universal monsters, because like Dracula is the main focus of the game, but we see like swamp creatures and Frankenstein's monsters, hunchbacks and werewolves, and every like monster cliche you can think of shows up in this game. So,
Yep, including my favorite, the Grim Reaper.
exactly, you
Yep.
get to beat the crap out of the Grim Reaper. So, and it is probably one of the best, one of the games I've played that has the best control I've ever played.
Yep,
So
definitely.
love that. Check that out. Awesome.
While I'm here, can I do a quick shout out to my little daughter who's
You most certainly can.
who's gonna turn 8 on Halloween, or backwards Halloween as we call it, because she's my little the one who I relive my past life through, because now she's young, so I get to do all the Halloween stuff again. It's amazing, and she loves Halloween. But she was born on October 13th, which is reversed 31. We call it backwards Halloween, which is Friday the 13th this year.
Oh, that
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Her birthday's on
Sweet.
Friday the 13th this year. Oh my god.
Yeah, on backwards Halloween. So we're pretty excited this year. It's going to be a fun one.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday to you, Rick Jr. 'Cause she's so much like you, dude.
Hey everybody, as promised, we will now give you a poem written and read by Alexander Stephen Brown. Enjoy.
Mater Suspiriorum. So you want to kill me, do you? You think you got the gall? Poor soul, you must know I have seen blacker swans fall. I am the mother of sighs, and I am the teller of lies. I am the darkest queen with the cruelest heart, and I am the eldest mistress of the art. Still approach me, you dare? Then welcome, brave soul, to my lair. For you, I will open the gates of hell and introduce you to my friends that dwell. Oh, do you think you got what it takes to deflect this spell? Do you think you will live to tell? Oh, come on, chow, and attack me with that lethal feather. I will tear you limb from limb and leave you tethered. Actually, chow, you might have what it takes, though I have seen many braves and many shattered fates. But you do have something in your eye. I think at last I, the first witch, might die. Mater Tenebrarum. Like a cloud of fog, I creep across the city. I am the mother of shadows who lacks pity. In a series, I am the second of three, and my classic beauty is deceiving as to what one must see. I am a vixen, and I am a eater of man, and to those who try to steal my book, good luck if you can. I am a wandering witch in the city of the Twin Tower, and the time is drawing near for the witching hour. Along in my stroll, a man comes in pursuit of answers, and he dares to seek the Shadow Child. Oh, that poor fool! He would be better if tossed to the wild. Entering my cathedral, he is unharmed and amazed. He descends to the edge of oblivion, driving himself nearly crazed. Upon our salutation, he realizes he is but a pawn. My darkness curls around him like a venomous damnation, crushing a fawn. I mock his intelligence, and I ask him how he dare. I am more than a mother. I am his greatest nightmare. And then, to my horror, the situation has made a switch. With a harmful element, he has cremated me, the second witch. Mater Lacrimarum. I am the succubus of 1,000 years, and I am the mother of 1,000,000 tears. Many witches have groveled at my feet to taste the nectar of innocent meat. Where I tread, destruction will follow, leaving all of Rome hopeless and hollow. Although I am but the last of three, it is my shadow that will set everything unholy free. And it is to you I speak dressed in my crimson cloak. You should have listened, white witch, when the others spoke. You are nothing against my coven of hags, and you have no magical tricks left in your empty bags. I am the huntress of men, and I do solemnly vow this is our time to rule now. Acknowledge around you all of your friends koshered and dismembered by my hands. I give you one final chance to obey my commands. I preach to my darkened choir, and they rejoice, for I am a goddess to desire. And to the ground it is you who is thrown, and I make ready the apocalypse known. I then shriek as you rip me with a spear. Too excited for the end, I didn't see you near. My cathedral, coven, and power is broken, leaving me the third witch, defeated and unspoken. I am now nothing more than a grim legend, and for you all is well, as I am trapped with my dead sisters, and we are all rotting in hell.
Okay, well, guys, thank you guys so much, and I want to give a shout out to everybody that sent us in their Halloween stories and their Halloween activities. Thank you guys so much. And whatever you're doing this Halloween, if it's going to be trick-or-treating or watching horror movies or going to a party, whatever the case is, whatever gets your Halloween rocks off, have fun, but most of all, be safe. And come back and join us again on the Graveyard Shift. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Ha 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 ha.